The one thing I am going to add in here, which is kind of controversial, but not really, is years in current company. If someone's been at their company a year or two, they might want to leave, but the reality is they're probably getting their head down. So I'll typically look at like 2+ years in current company. And just to get the numbers down here, I'll look at 2 to 7 years. That gives us 144 people. So again, I'm just doing a really narrow search first. I'll always broaden it out. 144 results, 60 of which are open to work. 27 of them are active, which means they're probably applying for jobs. Yeah, there's some good candidates in here.
Hey, this is Gareth Webb, and you're listening to Breakout, a show that cuts through the hiring noise. Here, you'll get an unfiltered view on what early and growth stage companies are doing so that you can take their best practices, processes, and frameworks and implement them to help you build teams more confidently.
Gareth, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jake.
So today I found a senior product manager position open with a company called Mendel AI, an AI application that is building a product to help with abstracting and parsing through very complex patient data to make it a little more manageable for a few applications. I imagine one of them is research at scale. So they just raised $40 million last March, Series B, for a total of $65 million to date. That's to really help build out their engineering team and expand on their new product called Resolve, which is, again, kind of what I mentioned. I'm sure there's a lot more to it as well. From a team standpoint, it looks like they're right around 100 employees. Looks like they have a pretty lean and mean talent acquisition team in-house from what I can tell on LinkedIn. So with that being said, I wanted to have you jump straight into it, pull up the company careers page and have you kind of walk through position, any initial thoughts, feedback, and we can get into the search.
Yeah. Okay, good. Let me share my screen, right? Should we look at the job first?
Let's do it.
So this is the company, Mendel AI, AI and R&D positions, clinical ops, commercial, customer, engineering, front end, full stack, back end, and a manager, and then senior product manager. We're going to look at the senior PM position, right?
Yep.
So senior PM, product management at Mendel, will lead product development for critical components of the product portfolio. So there are multiple products, customer needs and pain points, defining product strategy and roadmap, gathering user requirements, working cross-functional teams, UX, UI, engineering, AI, sales, delivery, to successfully deploy new features and functionality, position reports to Chief Product Officer. Okay, so nice exposure to the top person. It's not remote. So hybrid, San Jose, 4 days a week, which is a lot. And I'd imagine being an AI product for medical records is going to be pretty technical. And so obviously there's reasons why people want folks in the office, but 4 days a week is a lot. So that's going to be a hindrance to applicant numbers and people taking the job here versus somewhere else. But there we go. We know that you will and you have, and nice to have. So that's well laid out. I quite like that. The three critical thing, the three criteria of you will do this, you have to have done this, and ideally you have done this. So there's sort of some stack ranking preferences, which is always good. Deep understanding of customers, market to guide product vision and strategy, create detailed roadmaps, drive high-value complex products, feature development, scoping to design and successful rollout. Good technical language here. It's not too generic. Collaborate with UX, UI, third parties, conduct user research. Yes, we know about that stuff. Build relationships with AI engineers, data scientists, and software engineers. That is a very big skill of a product manager. Often gets overlooked, like actually being able to build relationships across the more technical parts of the team, and then also working with sales and delivery. So sounds like some kind of like product marketing, definition, documentation work required to help basically be a bit of a conduit between engineering and the customer. This is good. You will have obviously a bachelor's degree in a technical field or equivalent work experience. So it's kind of saying to me, that's like, well, do I need a bachelor's degree or not? Maybe not. Maybe they're happy to have people who've been working in a technical field, 5+ years of experience as a PM, proven spelling there, typo there. No need for that with Grammarly. Building complex end-to-end data platforms, data ingestions, data processing. Good, very data heavy as you'd expect with a healthcare AI ML product. Some of this stuff's already been said, like cross-functional teams, critical thinking. I'd probably want to know, like, do they really want somebody who's come out of a very focused AI ML product? It says they have experience with AI ML teams. I don't think it says anything about having had worked in healthcare at all. It doesn't say. It's experience in working with healthcare as a nice to have. I would have thought personally that the ramping period into an AI specialist platform for healthcare data would be tough if you don't understand the different categories of healthcare patient data. So I probably would have thought a CPO or the engineering team would really like a product manager who has strong healthcare data experience. I would imagine it's a steep learning curve. Obviously, there's very smart people out there who would be able to get it, but there's a risk. So it looks here like they're just looking for folks. Really, it's working with big data sets and complex data infrastructures. So that's what you must have done. Basically, is worked road mapping complex enterprise SaaS or data SaaS related products. The healthcare piece seems secondary. Building 0 to 1 is a nice to have. I would have probably thought that was more than a nice to have as well, given the stage of company. A lot of our clients won't take that risk. Like, they want to have product professionals who have built 0 to 1 in the past, understand how hard that is to get adoption and to iterate at speed and scale new things. So I think if I was working with this client, I would press hard on these 2 points, and I would probably want to show them people with complex healthcare data experience and 0 to 1, because by the time you start interviewing people, and these guys would be working hard and fast to build this and ship this and grow the business, the ramp period, like if they were finding candidates that had not done 0 to 1 and had not done healthcare data products before, and we could match candidates that had, then we'd likely get that candidate hired, I would say, in a risk averse environment like what we're in. But that may not be the case. Like, they may just be very happy with somebody out of Snowflake who has worked with big data infrastructure products and like led AI teams or worked very closely with them. So yeah, and then they got comp there, which is a good range, seems fair for in market. Did you say just closed Series B?
Correct.
Yeah,
last March.
Good comp, and they want somebody in the office 4 days a week. So you are going to have to pay a premium for that. So I think, yeah, it's a decent job description. I just wonder if they are being a little loose on the kind of layering of what they really need and what they'd like to have in versus what will actually get hired at the end. They might just be trying to like cast a wider net and not put people off.
Got it.
But if they were paying us, I would want to show people with the healthcare experience in 0 to 1.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be interesting to add those as constraints to your initial search parameters to see what you get.
Yeah, and I would just be very upfront that 4 days a week in the office it's not impossible, but you're really, really, really shrinking the talent pool available.
Do you know
and engineering folks?
I'm thinking from our own work, if we have like a kind of rough idea of the difference you might see, right? Like knowing you're going to market with a role that is pretty strict and hybrid, just like overall like response rates and like what that outreach might look like how much more that limits you from a search or outreach standpoint. Like, curious if you have any numbers or data or even like a range just to share just from our team's work.
Yeah, there's different variables here. So if the company and the product is incredibly niche, which this one is, to be fair, you're likely going to get people so bought in and latched onto that niche that they might do it. They might relocate to do it. They might come in office. Most of our clients, the most we see is like 3 days a week in the office, especially for product and eng. The order of magnitude to which we get like drop-offs in engagement for in office full time or even 4 days a week is massive, like more than 50% drop-off rate. And people just say, no, like there's enough other choices out there that I could take my time, and that's not a bargaining chip for me. Like, it's off the table. But then, people work at these places, so it doesn't mean, if the company is saying that what we're doing is sensitive, we're moving really fast, we want everybody in the office, we want the mind share, and the founders want that. And then there's the other variables we talk about. So we have a client that wants everybody in the office. They're seed stealth mode. They don't have a product. Their website's very minimal. So candidates perceive a big portion of risk to join that company and give up the things they want, like the flexible work. But with these guys who have product market fit, very good investors and are paying well, then they will have more leverage. But yeah, like we have some clients that if they're really, really niche, super niche, and people really love that mission, they'll go into the office, or they'll find the people that want to go in the office. And obviously that's kind of like what we're here to help with, but it does make it more difficult. I think what happens is there's probably a lot of wasted time in selection and interview process where people will go in and see what's going on with the company and the job. The client will interview the people through a process. And then once it comes to decision time, there's probably a big drop off then where people are like, yeah, I just can't commit to going in the office for 3-4 days, 5 days a week.
A lot of wasted time.
A lot of people won't even do 1 or 2 days a week. So, I mean, I don't know. It might be changing and we'll see how this year kind of like develops. But yeah, top talent will do what they want because they'll have the options. So yeah, should we have a look at like should we run a very quick kind of search criteria from that position? So senior product manager, just go with that because that's what they want. Current location, San Jose, non-remote, right? Current.
Correct.
Go current for now. Okay, so keywords were data or AI or ML or data science. And they wanted 5+ years of experience.
Yeah, do you have any notes on that too while we're talking on that subject? It's come up a couple of times in our last 2 episodes just around the years of experience. And, I think you had mentioned before,
yeah,
where it can be a little limiting.
If you say 5 and then it's like, well, why not 4? 5 is just a rounded kind of number most people latch on to. So I think you can use it that most people who are like 20 to 30 years here are going to be like senior PMs or like PM leaders. They might not have that title, but that's not to say that's always the case. There might be people who have been ICs for a long time and are very, very good. So they said 5 years. We typically go up a little bit because LinkedIn, like it doesn't always count the kind of post-graduating experience. It sometimes folds in some internships and stuff, but let's just stick to like 5 to 15 for now, just because I'm trying to go into a really small number. So we've got 548 up here. And then if I cut that down to 15, which I just did, it takes it to 279. So if I go 5, 286, 286 folks. I haven't put in industries. So go software development, see if health tech comes up. Yeah, LinkedIn's industry categories are not great, I have to say. Like they've changed them up. So even some users will have different ones to this. So I sometimes will just remove it. Climate tech, see technology, information, media, like these are just really old fashioned categories. So I think these can sort of sway a search too much.
You'd be looking at like other data sources in addition to this, right? To try and find maybe some more specific areas or ways to narrow that down.
So we'd go into Zoom info here and we'll look at various data sources. Yeah. And then what was the one thing they said? See if we could like really zero in on the things that they do want is like EHR data, healthcare data. So I think 0 to 1 we could add in here like healthcare data, EHR. Be very surprised if that comes in. Yeah, I'm going to leave industries off. There's like company types here that they're not particularly relevant for us. Years in current position. We're at 286, which is not a huge number. So we'd have time to go through those reasonably quickly, but we could look at more technical degrees if we wanted to. Look at computer science, computational science, computer engineering, biotechnology, biomedical. Like people who study that are going to have a big interest in it. I think that's fair to say for the most part. Or health-related industries. Some of those look a little bit too fluffy. So what does that get us down to? 96. So 96 coming up there, which is a very tight search. So we'll blur over the results so nobody can see them. But like if I run that search and just have a quick look at some of these folks, it's pretty good. Initial show of profiles, actually, somebody from sort of genetic, medical, healthcare technology, enterprise, ad tech, AWS, product strategy, payments, Viva systems, but only really been there recently. So what I'll do here, right, is I would go back down to this, go to the advanced search again, probably just trim this and just add data, AI, healthcare, and clear the field of study, keep the experience. Goes back up to the 286, which we had. So again, that's a pretty good number. 286 people, 46 are open to opportunity. 122. So there's some good senior PMs here, big data-driven companies. Here's a senior PM from Splunk, which is a massive data platform. The one thing I am going to add in here which is kind of controversial, but not really, is years in current company. If someone's been at their company a year or two, they might want to leave, but the reality is they're probably getting their head down. So I'll typically look at like 2+ years in current company. And just to get the numbers down here, I'll look at 2 to like 7 years. That gives us 144 people. So again, I'm just doing a really narrow search first. I'll always broaden it out. 144 results, 60 of which are open to work. 27 of them are active, which means they're probably applying for jobs. Yeah, there's some good candidates in here. Big, like senior PMs at very data heavy companies, some more enterprise than others. But again, they still may have built 0 to 1. So I don't really like classify 0 to 1 as purely startups, but we just have to clarify like what was the 0 to 1. Yeah, there's somebody here at Zscaler, Amazon, Splunk, Apple, data product manager at Apple. So that's the kind of enterprise end of the spectrum. If we wanted to go a bit smaller, then go back into here, go into company size, pull this up. There we go. And if I'm going to look at more startups, I'll do 50 to 200, 2 to 5, maybe 11 to 50. That's going to give me more startup experience, or earlier stage company. What's the numbers there? 18 people. And then one thing I'm going to do now that I've got it down to 18 people with a very tight sort of smaller company criteria, I will look at folks who are open to reload to that area as well. Because I think if they're going to have people in the office 4 days a week, they're going to have to consider people outside. Here we go with somebody here who fits the bill very well. Great academics, worked at startups, been at a scale up for the last 1-2 years, open to work, and is open to senior PM work in San Francisco. Happy to do on site, it says. So yeah, I think like that's how I do it. I would go all in on the local talent and really dive into like the data part. And then I would look at who's got the healthcare startup experience to give a bit of choice to the client. And then go really, really niche on healthcare data and AI, but broaden out who might be open to relocating. I'll do a third one as well, which I haven't done there, but just remove location entirely. And we've seen that this can work, where you just go to like stage, skill set, and like exact fit. Like who's the exact fit, who's working at a very similar company, but
like best across the US. They're willing to
US wide. Yeah. Who's the top 50 people or 100 people, and approach them and make sure they're aware of it, because you just never know. Like some people will move for an opportunity, like something as niche as this. Like we've seen it with defense AI client in Austin, where we've had people relocate from Atlanta and Hawaii. No issue. Like they've just absolutely gone all in on the process and decided that they would move for the field of study, basically.
Great. Yeah, I think that's very helpful, very tactical, good information on here. I appreciate the recap and the walkthrough. And for our listeners, if you are interested and want to run a position through, or having something that is maybe a little more difficult to fill, reach out. We're happy to take a look and run through it and potentially do an episode on it as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely add like final point, which is not to try and make the decision for anybody. Is like our job as kind of presenting talent is to offer different batches. Essentially, it's like, here's the local batch, 100% on spec. Here's local batch, broader spec. Here's the absolute on spec, but like US wide. And there's kind of, think of it as like these little clusters of high likelihood or high potential hires, and you've got to have the money to relocate people, but most of these companies do.
Great. Well, Gareth, thank you for your time. And until next time.
Thanks, Jake. That was great.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Breakout. If you want to hear more, make sure to hit subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast to be the first to get notified when future episodes are released. If you like this show or want to share feedback, please leave a review so we can keep improving and share the word with other leaders in the tech talent space. If you have suggestions for topics we should cover, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Gareth.